that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family? What's going on? This is your brother King Cam, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast, family. Tonight we have a special guest that's going to be joining us, and man, I want to first shout out to everybody who's tuning in, the Facebook family, the Twitter family, the YouTube family. I need you to share. If you're on Facebook, share this out to as many people as possible. I need you to like and subscribe from the YouTube family. And as always, I need you to hit the chat, and I need you to let me know, the comment section, which city and state that you're checking in from. Because you know this is a national, international platform, but we always want to see who's tapping in, who's watching the show. And tonight is a very, very special guest that I have to bring on with us today that's going to be talking about shifting the culture. Because this is what the platform is about, culture shifting conversations that we bring to the masses, to our community, to help uplift us in consciousness and to bring a new perspective as opposed to what's been going on the mainstream media and what you see happening today. So as we have you all tuning in and smashing that like button, you know, tonight's guest is very interesting, and I am interested in learning more about her story. You know, she works in the entertainment industry as an entertainment publicist. She's a former Navy vet, a sister who is working in an industry that's male dominated. Is a publicist for some of the top independent podcasts that you probably are watching today. You know, a beautiful sister that I have been communicating back and forth with via Instagram for quite some time now. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring her on to the Shifting the Culture podcast to have this discussion about how does she get into the industry, her particular journey, and how she could share that knowledge, the wisdom that she has to bring other people on to the industry as well. So without further ado, and without me belaboring the point any longer, shout out to my brother Nathan. Shout out to brother Nathan, always coming through. You know, North Carolina in the building, and always being a big supporter of the show. You know what I mean? So I always want to say thank you to all of those who come through on a weekly basis supporting the show, who make sure that they retweet the clips on Twitter, make sure that they reposting out the clips on Instagram and things like that. You know, so man, we appreciate all of that. Make sure that you are liking, retweeting, and you sharing this out via the social media platforms right now. But without further ado, I want to bring on to this illustrious podium that we have here at Shifting the Culture, my sister Chasity C. Y'all give her a round of applause. I'm gonna bring my sister on. Yes, absolutely, family. So
hello.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. Greetings to you. This has been a long time coming.
Yes, it has. And again, I am, thankful and honored to have you here, to have you on the platform, because again, I think what you do is very, very culturally driven and culture shifting. And a lot of people are interested in becoming, entertainment publicists, or being able to get really into the business behind the scenes of their favorite music stars, their favorite entertainers, even athletes. People want to know how they can get into the business. So, when we first started talking, I really thought it was just really dope what you're able to do, what you're able to accomplish in the industry. So I said, man, we got to have her come on the show and talk to the people.
Well, I'm extremely thankful that you have me on today on your platform because, you definitely shift the culture and you're all about, you're all about that and you support us so much. So thank you,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
having me on here and deeming me worthy to be on your platform. So
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
thankful and I'm grateful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to get right into it. So Chastity, if you could just tell the people really, how did you even how did where does your story begin? Obviously, you're from New York, so where does your
I'm from
story?
Brooklyn, New York. I am
Yes,
from Brooklyn, New York.
yes.
I want to
Brooklyn,
be very
stand up.
clear.
Brooklyn,
I am
stand
from
up.
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, Brooklyn, stand up.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, and so my story starts in Brooklyn, and I always loved to write. I love to write. I love to, express myself through the art of writing. So that's kind of where I started.
Mm,
Was writing and after writing it was poetry and just getting my feelings out and expressing myself through any kind of writing, creative
mm.
writing, storytelling, poetry, whatever it was. And I realized that this was a talent. This is more than just me getting my feelings out there. Like I saw in school, that I excelled in it. I did a
Mm.
lot better than other people, spelling
Yes, ma'am.
bees, the whole nine.
Wow, wow. So you was able to discover your gift through writing and communication.
Correct, exactly. And my brother passed away when I was really young. Unfortunately, he was murdered when I was 10 years old. And
Sorry for
when
your
that
loss.
happened, no, it's life, and we lose people we love, and it was definitely one of like a devastating time for me. I was young, I was 10. So
Mm,
it definitely, it definitely hit me heavy. I use writing though. I use writing to as therapy, poetry, like I said, storytelling, and then I also started like writing articles. I saw that I was able to do that, so that was like therapy for me. And knowing that I can do that, even for school, whether it was for doing having extracurricular activity, that's what I used it for therapy. So writing was my therapy, my first love.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Man, that's dope. And the reason why I think that's pretty cool because oftentimes in our community, a lot we going through a lot of different things. We
Hmm.
have, as you mentioned, tragedy that happens in our families, in our communities, and it's not many outlets in order to kind of express ourselves, how we feel, the emotions that we going through at that particular time. And I know writing has been one of those things that have saved so many people because it allows them to express themselves and to get their thoughts out of their mind and onto paper. So, that's really cool that you was able to utilize that as therapy and then being able to now morph it into, what your talent is and things like that. So I think that's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I was, and I was able to do that. I wanted to be. No, I was a journalism major, and I was still a journalism major, but I wanted to be in front of the camera initially, but
Uh-huh.
I changed that clearly.
Wow. So
Well,
okay.
now I kind of am in front, which is not what I wanted, but initially it was what I wanted, and then I changed to PR. But I'll let you ask the questions.
Okay, no. That's good. That's good because. But before we go there, because I noticed you've been popping out lately. Like I said, I done seen some of the
Yeah, right?
interviews
Who
with you
knew?
in front of the camera now. But when I first met you, everything was behind the scenes. But even before that, I also know that you were in the military as well, in the Navy as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what inspired you to join the Navy? How was that experience, and how did that segue into becoming an entertainment publicist?
Well, the military is a funny story. I went to college for about 2 years.
Hmm.
Um, my second year of college, I didn't do that well. I was young. I graduated high school when I was 16 years old. So I went
Oh
away to
wow!
Delaware State
Oh,
University. Yeah,
you smart
but
smart.
yeah, I'm pretty smart. You know what I'm saying? My parents did well. So,
Yes, ma'am.
but I was too young to go to school away. I feel like,
Hmm.
I wasn't ready. I was naturally intelligent, so I did well in school. But this my second year, I really wasn't really feeling it. So I really didn't really put
Mm.
that much effort into it. And my parents were just like, no, like we're not paying for you to go to school and be on campus, and you're wasting our money,
Right.
basically. So
Makes sense.
when I came home, I was trying, looking for a job, couldn't find one. Ultimately, got into a lot of things, and one night I crashed my mom's car, and my mom was away.
Ooh.
Bad. My mom was away too. She was away. She was out of the country,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah, you really wildin'.
yeah, I was out. And my dad was just like, I was young. I didn't know. For one, I didn't know that once you crash a car, that the owner would have to know. I didn't know that. I'm a city kid. I never knew how to drive. None of that. So
Right.
I don't really know the lingo. None of that. So my dad was just like, listen, these are your options, and if you do this, I'll get the car fixed, and we won't have to tell your mom a thing. So he took me to the recruiting
Shout out to
station.
Pops.
Right, right. But he took me to the recruiting station in Brooklyn. That's where he took me, and like pick one. And I was like, I'll pick the Navy. Get me out of here before she get here. Regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever. Like that's really how it went. Get me
Yo.
out of here before she gets here, because
Right.
for some reason I still felt like he was gonna tell her anyway.
Uh-huh. But
And
at least but at least you wouldn't be there when he told her. You'd be miles away.
get me out of here, right? Get me out of here,
Facts.
exactly. So it didn't happen that way. She came back. The car was fixed, but she was devastated, and you know, like she was just like, "This is the extreme." You went to the extreme. My mother was so sad. Um, but you know what? Ultimately, it changed my life, and I
Mm.
don't regret it at all. It's actually, it was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Wow. That's what's
It was,
up.
it was, it was a beautiful accident.
Well, just to let you know, you are not in a club by yourself when it comes to wrecking vehicles.
Okay.
Because I've done that as well. And
How many?
I think my mom is watching, so if I say something now, she might go back through and be like, "Oh, that was you, that was
That was
you." But I think it
you.
was one, two. It was three times. I can count three on my hand.
Ooh. Okay.
It
Okay.
was three
I've had a
times.
few. I've had a few. I'm not. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
behind
three.
the wheel now. I'm more responsible, but my 20s, it just was not right for me. Wrecking vehicles.
Absolutely. So yeah, so don't feel bad. That's just how I go. But again, like you
Yeah.
said, it led to, something beautiful, being able to get into
Yes.
the Navy. So we had to actually somebody said, "What was your rate in the Navy?" Brother Nathan said, "What was your rate in the Navy?" I had a friend of mine who went to the Navy Reserves. He's like my best friend. And he went to the Navy Reserves and as a corpsman, as a hospital corpsman. So,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. So, what was your rate in the Navy?
So I went in as a deck seaman and I came out as a gunner's mate. So I went in as a deck seaman, like the lowest of the lowest. And I came out as a gunner's mate. So that was
Okay.
my journey. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. We got Detroit in the building. Shout out to Sister Tamara. Assalamu alaikum. Sis, we appreciate you for tuning in. Like I said, we had North Carolina. Y'all let me know what other city and state y'all checking in from as well so I can shout y'all out.
Right, it's
Oh,
Brooklyn here because I
we got,
can't see.
we got
So,
Misha. We got Misha in here. Misha Daniels, Mocha Styles in the building. Shout out to the family.
oh, is that
Yeah,
my cousin,
yeah. They in
my friend?
here. They in here supporting the fam. They in here supporting the fam.
Oh, yay. I
Right. So
love
they,
y'all.
yeah, they in here supporting the family. So how did when you was in the Navy, right? And then you got out, did you already have a mind to go back into media? Because
Yes. Yep.
yeah, because media is so powerful, and I think we kind of relate on those stories of media because I started out, in music with music, and I still do music, but I went from doing music to also learning about promotion and the music business. I had a friend of mine who me and him are still friends to this day, and he's older than me, and he had a career in music, and he's the one that taught me about the music business. And then in the process of learning about the music business, I then started to learn about the power of media, vlogging, blogging, and all of these different things, which led to me creating a vlog, which turned into a podcast, which now morphed into what you see now as Shifting the Culture podcast. And I really love the media aspect of it because being able to create a platform and be able to inform our people, use it for a positive thing, is something that I really enjoy from the media aspect. So for you, after you got out the Navy, what was that thing that said, hey, I want to go and get back into, want to utilize my writing talent and then connect that to media?
So I already knew that I wanted to be in media. Even when I was in the Navy, I really wanted to be a journalist in the Navy. But when I was going in, that job was closed. That rate was closed,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the reasons why I left because I was still trying during my active duty years. I was still trying. Like I really wanted to be a JO. That was what I wanted to do. I was like,
Okay.
if I'm going to do this, I want to write, right? But I couldn't get in there, and then I was like, you know what? Let me let me leave active duty if I'm going to do this media thing, right?
Right. Right.
When
Makes sense.
I was in when I was in my freshman year at Del State University, though, I was a journalism major, and then I took a PR class, and I fell in love with it. So that's how PR came about because I took a broadcast journalism class, and I just wasn't with it. I have a list. The cameras are hot. I
The
have a
cameras
little
are hot.
stutter, so it was just like, this is not for me. So, and I took a PR class, and I'm like, I can do the same thing. I can be behind the scenes.
Uh,
I can write, and I can kind of change people's lives. Like, you know what I mean? I can be the person that is really like pulling the strings and making a difference.
mm,
So when I got out of the military, I knew I was like, I'm doing PR. It's funny because a lot of my friends that I was in the military with, they are blown away. They could because they remember me saying, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, this is
right.
not for me. I am not good at this. Don't like this. Not good at this. But
Right.
I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna be an entertainment publicist. Watch, like, and I'm gonna be a good one, and people are gonna know who I am, right? So
Mm.
I was like, I gotta get out of here. I was in my 20s. I'm not gonna say, but I was in my 20s at the time, and yeah, so I did that, and that was that was always my goal. I never had a plan B.
Wow. I think
I never
about
had a plan B.
yeah, I think a lot about determination. And, when people say they want to do something and they really set their heart and mind to doing it, the power of the mind is extremely important, because you just mentioned the fact that a lot of your friends that were in the military with you and see you today, they like, yo, I remember when she said that this is what she was going to do. Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
that speaks to the power of the mind and what a made up mind has the capability of doing if we stay in the game. Now, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but I'm pretty sure there were stumbling blocks along the way, all type of
Definitely.
opportunities, things that happen, people, all different type of stuff that kind of went along with it, which is a part of the journey. Because people think that just because they put out an idea and they say this is what they want to do, that there's no, obstacles and, things that come along the way that are there to kind of stop you and block you to see how bad you really want this. Right. So, but it just speaks to the determination of when you make your mind up to say you're going to do something, as long as you stay consistent, as long as you stay focused and have
Yes.
tunnel vision, then you will bring it into existence. You'll bring it into existence.
You
So
will.
yeah, so
Consistency, definitely.
take us through after you got out the Navy and you already had your mind made up. I'm gonna be an entertainment publicist. Now, what's the next move? You come back home
So
to Brooklyn?
I came back home to Brooklyn. I moved
Okay.
in with my mom. I already had a job lined up at Bad Boy at the Blue Flame Agency when
Mm.
Puff was at 2310 Broadway or 20, it was 20 something Broadway, whatever. He was on Broadway. And I had my internship lined up and ready. And I was in school. I literally enrolled in school and started my internship the same week.
Mm.
So I was only home for 2 weeks. I had a week to kind of just get my footing together, and then the next week I started my internship and I started school. So I was like, all right, pedal to the metal. Because in my mind, I wasted time. I promise you. At that time, I felt like I was behind, so behind. And I think to myself, like, girl, you were right on time. I thought I was older than everybody. I thought it was wild,
Yeah.
because when you are in the military, you experience so much. You see so many things. I grew up. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, something different, but no, like I was right on time. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, yeah. I was interning as an executive assistant.
Well, now you got to explain how was you able to put that together? Because how was you able to line
Because
that?
I have amazing friends. I have amazing friends. My
Okay.
friend Whitney was working there at the time, and I hit her up, and she said, "I got you." It was literally that simple. She also knew, though, this is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. It wasn't like, okay, here, sis. It was just like, yeah, I got you. I know this is what you want to do. So, shout
Right.
out to Whitney. I always shout her out because
Shout out to Whitney. Shout out to Whitney.
she's my friend to this day. She's my friend to this day. I love her so much. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten that foot in the door.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So shout out to Whitney for that. So all right. So now and that timing. Let me talk about the timing, because a lot of people have that same idea that you had when you first started going to school. Like, all right, I'm already wasted time. I feel like I'm mad old. I gotta like catch.
Word.
I
That's
gotta catch up.
crazy.
I gotta catch up to what everybody else is doing. But the beautiful thing about it is that God's timing is actually always on time. And
Yes.
that's what we don't factor in when we going through it. But when you look back at it, you was like, I was right on time for everything that happened during that particular period. So, I think that helped to feed the motivation. That helped to feed the desire to lock in. Because I know Diddy talk about it all the time. He said, you gotta lock in. Lock
You gotta
in.
lock in.
Let's get focused. Like, lock in. So what does that look like? Well,
Yes.
when your desire is being fed by, whatever outside circumstances or whatever, things that are pushing you to want to get it done, these things are allowing you to say, hey, listen, I'm not messing with none of this extra stuff going on over here, over there. All I'm doing is this, so I can get finished, I can get to the next point, and I can move on to the next aspect. So that's that determination and that discipline that's necessary in order for you to be successful. So now that and then of course, and then having the network. The network is something that people just don't really see the value of. And I'm steady telling people, you need to increase your network. You need to increase your network. Relationships are valuable. You just talked about how your relationship is how you was able to lock in the intern. And the saying is true. It's not about what you know, but it's about who you know majority of the time. Majority of the time. So that network aspect is extremely important.
Definitely, it is. It is, and it is about what you know once you're in the door, because you have to keep it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you do need, it is all about who you know, and it's about networking and maintaining good relationships, maintaining relationships, and being a likable person.
Yes, that's very, very true. That's very, very true. So, now that we done went through the internship, what's the mindset? What's the next move? Because I would imagine it's not really a blueprint for this particular career path, right? So as you're literally navigating this, kind of on your own. So could you talk about the mindset that you had after you went through the internship? Like, okay, now how do I start making money? How do I guess, get a client? Like, how does that whole thing work itself out?
So for me, the mindset was like, can't stop, won't stop. Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
when I started my internship there with the Last Train to Paris campaign, so we were on 1,000 all the time. I was literally going to school, going to my internship, going to class, going back to my internship, going to class, going to my internship, then going to the activities after, whether it's a party, whether I have to help with CDs, whatever. Ciroc. That's when that's when Diddy first started with Ciroc too. So
Putting that
it
work
was a
in.
lot of moving parts. It was Bad Boy Films. It was a lot of things. So in my mind, I was just like, I have to keep up. I have to keep up with my grades. I have to keep up with this internship, and I have to stick out. The thing that I didn't have at the time was the sticking out part, because I wasn't mature enough yet
Mm-hmm.
to to understand the value of sticking out. Right? I knew how to work. I could outwork anybody, and that was noticed. But also just being different and showing not only your work ethic, but what can you add other than your work ethic, right?
Right.
So when I realized I didn't have that thing that I saw everybody else that had, and how
Like
competitive it
that it
was,
factor.
that it factor, and how competitive it was in that building at that time, I knew that I had to navigate myself differently,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to do a little bit more maturing. Maybe I need to figure something else out to get myself ready for this industry, because I had a taste of it and I was just like, I'm not ready yet. I knew it. I also
Mm.
knew that if I wanted to excel and succeed, I have to finish my degree. And even though I was going to class in New York and I was interning, I wasn't doing well.
Okay.
And that didn't sit well with me. So I took the opportunity to move to Virginia after my internship,
Mm-hmm.
and and that was awesome. That was an awesome decision. I moved
So,
to Virginia.
what part
I
of
packed
Virginia
up
you
my
moved to?
Norfolk, Norfolk,
Okay,
and I
757.
finished my degree. Yep, the 757, and I finished my degree at Norfolk State University.
Wow! Shout out to the green and gold. Shout out to the green and
Behold the
gold.
green and gold. That is my alma mater. I graduated cum laude from Norfolk State University.
Wow.
I loved it there. I was also, you know, in NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists.
Mm.
I was very active, in school, and I held it down. I had like 2 jobs, and doing military things. So I was super. I moved to Virginia because that's where I was stationed at
Okay. Okay.
before I moved to Japan when I was in the military because I lived in Japan. But
Whoa. Oh, you got to talk about that. Yeah, we not just gonna skip
I
over
did. I lived.
the Japan living. Yeah,
I
that's
did. I
crazy.
lived in Japan. So, but Norfolk is where I started. So I was like, yo, I know I could go down there. I could concentrate. I
Yeah.
have a support network. Like I have friends down there that already have places. I can kind of get my own place, grow up
Right.
a little bit, which I'm very thankful to myself for having a foresight to do what I need to do to mature,
Mm.
and get myself where I need to be, and kind of get the kid out of me, if that makes
Mm.
sense,
Yes, ma'am.
and
No, that makes sense. That
experience things
yeah.
to grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Norfolk and I stayed on my best friend Quentin's couch for like, I think 5 months while I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and before I got my own place, and I started there. Like I joined the clubs. I joined just different things that I knew that would benefit me, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And there was a trip to New York during when I was while I was a mass comm major in public relations. The trip to New York for the mass comm department. Even though I'm from New York, this specific trip, you're walking into the doors of NBC. You're
Mm.
talking to people, Wendy Williams, students that went to Norfolk State that work at the Wendy Williams show. Um, what is that? Sirius XM,
Okay.
Music Choice, things like that. So I'm like, yo, I need to get in this trip so I can get in these buildings. Because just
Right.
because I'm from New York and I work that bad boy, I'm not gonna act like I don't need more.
I don't
You
need
know,
more exposure. Right.
the goal, right, was to soak up information. So I did that. I got a mentor, and I started working for a girl who was a model at the time. Her name was Chasity as well.
Oh
So
wow.
she went to school. She went to my school, Norfolk State University, and she graduated. And she was now a model. She was in the industry. And I went up to her and I was like, "Your name is Chastity. My name is Chastity. We came up with this thing. 2 Chastities is better than one. Like it was a whole thing." And I said, "Can I intern for you? While I'm in school, because you're in New York, you're touching all these people that I want to touch, and I can intern for you.
Right.
I
Right.
can be your assistant, and I can be in the rooms that you're in."
Which is the
And she
ultimate
agreed,
goal.
which is the ultimate goal. And she agreed. And on that trip, I actually made a whole bunch of other connections with some people that I talk to and some people that I don't. But I, 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 I did what I came to do. I'll
Right.
say that. And yeah, so that was like the beginning of me using my networking skills, because I
Yes.
think that's what I needed, the networking skills. Like I had the work ethic down pat. It was just the skill of networking.
Right. Right. All right.
And
All
with
right.
Chastity, I learned how to do that.
So look, I gotta stop. I want to stop you right there. First, for those who are just coming into the show, I'm your host, Brother King Cam. This is Shifting the Culture podcast, and I'm here with my girl Chasity C, and we are talking about everything entertainment, publicist style. She is one of the hottest in the game. Over some of the top rated independent podcasts right now, so she's sharing with us her story. For those who are just coming in, I need to check this chat real quick though, because Brooklyn was heavy just a few minutes ago. Heavy in
Were
the
they?
building. Yeah, we got music in the building. That's Brooklyn. We have Dover. We got Dover, Delaware. So Misha from Dover, Delaware. So shout out to Dover, Delaware.
Okay.
We got Dover, Delaware in the building. Who else? Who else, family? Who else? We got
Oh,
Yonkers.
Maisha.
Yep.
Maisha.
Yep. Yep. We got Yonkers in the building. Okay. Yo. All right, we got
Yonkers.
Yonkers. Yep, we got Yonkers in the building. That's a
Oh, that
fact.
sounds like John. Shout out to
Yep,
John.
John Rios. Yep, NYC. We got Pops in the building. Pops said he checking
My
in.
dad is here.
Yeah, Pops was here. Doc Blaze, what's going on, Pops?
Yes.
Yeah, we got Pops in the building. Who else? We got Princess from Brooklyn. She said, "Love you, cousin."
I love her.
Yep. Got your cousin in the building. Who else? We got
Who
Joy.
this is? I feel so celebrated.
Yeah,
Hi,
we got Joy.
That's my girl.
Yep, Joy in the building. New York heavy in here. So yeah, who else?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So we got a lot of people that's checking in. Oh, and my homegirl right here, my girl Tay, the godmother, what's going on? She said where Brooklyn
Hey,
at.
Tay.
She said where Brooklyn at. You know, my family is that I was born and raised in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia. So when you said you came to Virginia, that perked me up. I was like, oh, okay, what part of VA you from? So we got we got an NY to VA connection happening right now. But this gonna trip you out. This gonna trip you out though, because I was born in the 804, but my mother was born in New York. My mother's originally from Brooklyn. She grew up in Jersey, right? My grandfather, who was originally from New York, he from the Gowanus projects. And then I got my cousins that's from LG. They from Lafayette Gardens. Yeah. So that's all that.
Wait a minute. So I currently live across the street from LG.
Oh, yeah?
My family's from Lafayette Gardens.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're going to have to talk on the back
We
channel.
lived there, and then we moved across the street to the co-ops.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to have to talk about
Are you
that.
kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious. I'm telling you. Most of my cousins moved. Yeah, most of my cousins, 1, 2, 3 of them moved down here to Georgia in Atlanta now. So they down here in Atlanta now. My aunt was
my
the one
dad
originally.
is. My dad is in Atlanta.
Okay, so yeah, so you know most of everybody from New York moved down south to Atlanta for the big house. You know what I mean? So, yep. So that's where everybody at.
It's
So
easy
yeah,
life. It's easy.
That's
easy,
right.
and it's abundant. Definitely, I love it there. I'll be there soon. Actually, I'll be there in October, so I'm excited.
That's right. That's what's up. So we definitely look forward.
And I was there for Invest Fest too. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we probably walked right past each other. I was at Invest Fest too. I was at Invest Fest.
Sure we did.
Yeah, I came through there. So yeah, so quick. Oh, who is this? I don't even know how to pronounce the name. King Pack. I'm gonna just say King Pack said, "Bless up." What's going on, man?
That is Quentin, my best friend.
That's your best friend that you stayed on the couch for 5 months. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Norfolk State too.
We ended up getting an apartment together and actually doing the same thing. We were going to school on our military shit, like excuse my language.
Yeah, you good.
We were going to school on our military, with our GI Bills together.
Okay.
Like, that's my guy.
No doubt.
I love him so much.
No doubt. Shout out to Progressive Action. They said they tuned in from Tremel. They tuned in, man. So we getting mad love. Team Kennedy in the building. So man, we getting mad love tonight. We appreciate all of you all. So now, what you was describing, what I really like about it, and I hear a lot of people talk about it, whether it's Diddy, Dame Dash, other moguls in the entertainment industry who talk about the process and just going through the journey. Because a lot of the stuff that you had to do, especially this networking piece, was things that you had to get off the muscle, right? So it's really nobody out there teaching a class on how to network. And I'm able to resonate with that so much because in Richmond, doing music, doing media, like we are a market that's kind of in between the major markets. You have Virginia that's in between New York and Atlanta, in Miami. So the major markets, they pass through Virginia. So there's really no major market level type of activity going there. And it's a lot of, the group is small. I'm gonna just say that. So it's hard to be able to break into that. So you really got to be a mover and shaker. You got to go. You got to be showing up at events. You got to be letting people know what your name is. You have to be introducing yourself. So you really have to be able to kill all that, not being able to talk to people. I don't want to open up to different people and all of that kind of stuff, because you're not going to be able to get anywhere in the industry like that. You have to be showing up to events. You have to be letting people know what you do, who you are, how you move, and they got to see you and all of that. And that was how I was able to start building my name up in Virginia before I moved to Atlanta and went through the same process. But I think about it and I just love going through that process. I love going places and meeting new people, taking pictures, shaking hands, telling them what we do, what we trying to build, all of those beautiful things. So I just love the process, even though we're not where we want to be. The process is where you learn so much about who you are and about the mission. So I really like that. And you mentioned
Definitely.
that. And you mentioned that a lot. So
It's true. It's true.
you said that that networking piece was what you missed. You was missing when you was at Bad Boy. So now
Yes.
that you done made those connections, you done went through, you done got a lot of, industry knowledge because you went into them buildings, right, in them studios, and you asking questions, and you got a mentor, which is extremely key. Someone who can school you to what was going on, the different things that's happening, right? So the mentor part was extremely powerful. So now you got the mentor. So moving forward, what's the next move after that?
After that, I interned for her. I graduated again with honors. I pride myself in that because I worked my ass off for that. So that was huge
Education,
for me.
education.
That was huge for me. And I moved back to New York. Well, I moved to Jersey actually because I wasn't ready to move back to New York. I still wanted to be on my own a little bit longer. So I moved to New York, and I knew that I had to get rolling. By
Mm,
this time, I'm in now. It was like I was like late 20s. So I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? It's time to get rolling. It's time to figure it out. So
Right,
I immediately just I had a contact from a while ago, like my past,
right.
and that owed me a favor, and I cashed in on my favor, and they happened to be a publicist as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
I worked under them, and I lived with them, in for a while. So
Okay.
I basically shadowed them, and when I did
Mm,
that, I mastered networking,
mm,
and every place I was with them, I networked.
mm-hmm.
I made contacts, and I landed another internship at a PR firm, and that was really the start of everything.
That was
I bartended in between too, so with bartending in between, you meet people in the industry as well.
that's true.
Like, and I was like, you know what? I can make money. I can make money bartending, and I was a hookah girl as well. So
Okay. Okay.
these two things, I can make money. I can use my face. People will remember my face. I can be kind to people. It's a service that people actually need as well. So people are gonna need to have to talk to me, right?
Mm,
That's one thing. And so I met people along the way with that. And I have this internship where I'm actually in the industry. So I just use it to my advantage. And during that time is when I'm at math.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, so before we go there though, um, somebody said we got to go back to this Japan thing because you just dropped
Oh,
that.
back to
Yeah, you just
Japan.
dropped us on. Yeah, you just dropped us that Japan piece on, and then we just kept it moving. So just a little bit, can you elaborate? What was it like to actually live in Japan though? I think that's pretty dope. How was that?
So I lived in Yokosuka, Japan for a year and a half.
Okay.
For me, it was work. I
Mm.
didn't soak in what I think people think that I should have with any place that I went to. I've been to Korea, I've been to Japan, I've been to Guam, like
Oh wow. Okay, so you've
I've
been
been to St. Martin and Antigua. I've been to a lot
international.
of places. Yeah, international, right? I've been to so many places, but in my mind, it was work. I can be honest with you. The military is a little bit of a blur for me because it wasn't where I wanted to be, so I kind of coped, right? And I
Okay.
said it in another interview before, like the term "drink like a sailor" is super real, and I was doing a lot of that. So it wasn't really like the dopest experience for me.
Gotcha.
The best thing about the military for me was where I am now and what I can use it for now. Japan was cool. I liked it. I met great people. I partied a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like it was work for me. I didn't really experience the culture like maybe somebody else would. I
No
didn't
doubt.
really do much. I didn't really. It was kind of just like I'm here, to be honest. Do I regret it? No, because as an adult, I'm gonna go back. So
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. Yes, ma'am. Well,
eventually,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, so you an international traveler. Joy said Chaz the Great. That's what I'm gonna start calling you, Chaz the Great, the international traveler.
I love it. That's either one of my really, really, really great friends, Joy, who actually I met at Bad Boy, who held me down all the way, or that's my military sister, Joy. Either way, I love both of them. They're amazing people.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. So been able, you making your waves, you on your journey, right? You going through, and you really just, again, going through the process. You hustling right now, and I just love it because when you go out to these different places, man, you don't know who you gonna meet, you don't know the opportunity, what it's gonna be like. And I've been in so many situations that if I had not went to this place, then I could not have made this connection. So I just be so
Right.
thankful that I even was willing to get up and just, hey man, let's just go. And oftentimes people make a lot of excuses for why they can't do this or I can't do that, or I didn't get a chance, because sometimes you don't even get a chance to plan for this stuff. It's just like, yo, I need you to roll with me type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to be open minded and be present and say, look, I'm gonna go with it, and we're gonna see how we can make how we can make the best of it. So now you meet Mav. So now, could you talk about how, how that popped off and how you was able to,
Yeah, totally. So math and I actually met in Brooklyn. It had nothing to do with work. It had nothing to do with the industry. We just happened to be at the same place at the same time
uh-huh.
at this club by my house in Brooklyn. Like,
Okay.
I didn't know who Math was before I met him. Nothing. We just literally happened to be at the same party. He stopped me. I stopped, and we looked at each other, and he was like, "You look familiar," and I was like, "You do too."
Mm.
And we were trying to figure out where we knew each other from.
Mm.
We never figured it out, actually, to be honest with you.
Till this day.
But so that was one time where we saw each other, and it was like a love and hip hop watch party.
Okay.
So it was a love and hip hop watch party, but his friend owned the club,
Okay.
and the same friend knew me from bartending. So he invited me to his spot. And that's where I met Matt the first time. And then the second time, I happened to be at Santos Party House for the Tribe Called Quest reunion.
Mm.
And that was the second time I saw Matt, but we did not remember each other.
Right.
And I was supposed to get a pass for that party that night, and I didn't. And I was just like, but I'm here. And he literally was like, literally said this to me. I know you from somewhere. I'm like, I know you from somewhere. He said, but if you don't think that you can get in, you're not going to get in. Right? You have to change your mindset. You have to go in there. I don't know that he's a celebrity, but by the way, right?
Right. Right.
So he's telling me this, and I'm like, all right, cool. He said, you want to come with me? You're going to act like you're supposed to be here and watch. You're going to get in, right?
No, that's
I'm,
real
I'm
though. That's
That's what he said.
100%
So I
right.
was like, all right. So, my heart is pounding right now, Cam.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I'm like, these bodyguards, I'm like, I am not somebody, but you know what? I'm going to try it. Like, he was not letting up. And I was like, who does he think he is? You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like, who does he think he is that is going to be all right? So we went through the first door, and they went like this to him, and
Hmm.
they asked for my ID. And that was one door. I was like, okay, cool. But you had to have tickets for this party. So I didn't ask no questions. I was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's working, whatever. So now we in the party. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it. He's like, no, like there's another tier. This VIP. You
Yeah.
know? I'm like, I wasn't really trying to go to
Like, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm good with this right here. Let's not push
good.
it.
I'm gonna enjoy the show. Well, but whatever. So we did the same thing, and they let us. They did it again. They did like that to him, and they let us in. They said hi to me. They let me in. So now we're in the back, and I was like, whatever, it worked. Thank you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still trying to figure out where I know this guy from. Can't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out. We ended up having a really great time that night. It was really dope. So many people were there, and we exchanged information, and I saved it. I didn't get his information the first time I saw him, but this time I did. Because
Right.
I'm like, whoever he is, he's really nice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I really appreciate that, people that are really nice. And clearly, you know what I mean, he's in the industry like me, and I'm into networking.
Right. Absolutely.
Leaving, I saved his information. And I Google him, and I'm like, oh snap! Like, he's a battle rapper. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
dope. At the time, I was doing PR for a podcast, which my friend Joy's here. It was her podcast, and I was a publicist for a podcast. It was called Bar Talk Radio,
Okay.
and one of my jobs was to get guests. So I'm like, he's a huge battle rapper, like, and so we had a conversation. I told him what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
told him what I did. I was like, I'm a publicist. I just graduated. I'm handling PR for this radio show with my friends, but it's a dope radio show. We're bridging the gap between new school hip hop and classic hip hop. And I think you would be a great guest because by that
Fire.
time we had so many people. We had Dress from Black Sheep, Money and Violence. At the time when
Oh,
they were hot,
Money and Violence,
Kim
boy, that was
Rosario
my
was on
show.
there. We had a bunch of great people on the podcast. So I'm like, if he's dope, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he agreed. And we literally, after that interview, we had such great conversation. And I told him what I did, and he was just like, "Yo, I need a publicist, and you need practice. What's up?"
He
And
done fished you.
I didn't.
He done scooped you from that podcast to come roll with him.
But no. It was both. It was good. I was working with both.
You was able to do both, right?
It was
You was
good
able to
for
get a.
me. Yeah, it was good for me because I was able to get the podcast in other doors too because of his name, and vice
Right.
versa because we were a podcast. So it worked out well at the time, and I didn't need anything at the time because I had I was bartending. I had my own money. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just like it worked out. I needed the experience.
You just needed to work,
So
yeah.
and I
You just
needed
needed to
and I
work.
needed the connections, right?
Right.
So it
Right.
was like, all right, cool. Um, battle rapper, sir, math. You know what I mean? This is what
Right.
I need.
Facts.
And whatever. And I ended up going on battle rap stages with him and experiencing the culture and literally and we became really good friends too. So I got so much experience with him um, when we started working together, and it opened so many doors for me in a sense of networking skills,
Absolutely.
right? And yeah, so that's how that relationship started as far as our business relationship, and we've been rocking with each other ever since.
Man, that is amazing, man. Shout out to Math, man. Shout out to Math for just being the mentor, obviously just a great young man to just help you and impart the knowledge and the wisdom, see what you're trying to accomplish, see the direction that you're trying to go in, and just really, say, hey, look, this is what I see you trying to do. I see you about your business. So let me go ahead and offer what I can offer that can help you, whether it's my network, just wisdom that I have and things like that to help you come on and establish yourself. So man, that's really dope because a lot of people, of math stature don't necessarily do that all the time. I've been in situations where, people have an opportunity to do that and they don't. So again, shout out to math for just, bringing you up, and helping to add to your value and to your impact into the industry. So that's really, really dope. So shout out to him for that.
Definitely did.
Yeah,
And
so
it was
shout out to him for that.
also great for me because at that time he wasn't favored. Like
Right.
nobody was really checking for him in the league. They didn't. He wasn't in URL. Battles were like hard to get. It was a challenge for me too, for like interviews and things like that. It was definitely an experience that was good for me. That showed how tough this industry was.
Right. I can just imagine you probably learned so much and got so much
Yeah.
experience and so much, so much knowledge, a lot of things that are like industry niche specific that you don't get unless you really in the trenches. And that's why the process is so important because there's certain things that you go through as you going through the experience that you learn along the way that you able to put into your tool bag that just makes you a better publicist or whatever it is that you are. It makes you better at that because you have that experience.
Correct. Yep. So
Yep.
that's yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that was
So
like that was the beginning. And then yeah, like it was the networking, and I met a few other people along the way through bartending too. Like I met clients and PR, and I started my company about 3 years ago now during the pandemic. I got an LLC. During the pandemic, I LLC my company, but I started my company before the pandemic, like 2017.
okay, and that's Chastity
Yeah,
Cox PR.
that's Chasity Cox PR LLC. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. So take us through what's the day to day like. What's the day to day like for Chastity and being a publicist and having the clients that you have. What's your day to day like?
So my day to day, I try to wake up as early as possible. Recently now I'm waking up around 5:30 these days, 5:30, six
Okay.
o'clock. Before
Me
it was
too.
4 a.m. Last
Okay.
year, like around this time, it was the 4 a.m. days every day because we were uh,
Oh yeah, you
filming
was
a
getting it.
lot for MEO. Like, and I had to have media releases out early every day.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it was very intense. So now I have 5:30 a.m. wake ups. Even though I have more clients, I have 5:30 a.m. wake ups because MEO was more like a well-oiled machine at this point, and
Okay.
and we kind of know where we're navigating. But I do that. I thank God. I thank
Got
the
to do
Most
that.
High
Got to do that.
for
Shout out to him, man. Yeah, shout out to him for
person.
that.
The Most High, God is the center of my world. None of this would be if it wasn't for God.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Spiritual gangster now.
I meditate and I look at and I look at my calendar. I see what I have to do, my to-do list with all the clients that I have right now, and I just check it off. Like I just check it off day to day, the things that I have to do. Um, when it comes to MEO, we don't really shop media anymore because we learn, like, our media is valuable.
Absolutely.
So it's like us giving it away is not, it doesn't make sense, right? So,
So
people still.
so for those that are watching, when you say shop media, what does that exactly mean? So when you say we don't
So
shop
like I
media
think
anymore.
I used to send it to you too. Like I would send you clips and
Yeah.
like
Uh huh.
the captions and stuff like that. So I'll send it to different media outlets to cover, but we learn along the way that people should be paying for our stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Quote unquote. But you don't charge, but you also don't. You want to organically keep your company going without having to do that, right?
Mm.
So I
Yes.
don't do it as much. I do miss doing it, so I may start doing it more. But I just was kind of doing. it was like trial and error, seeing what it looks like, what it doesn't look like, things like that.
Right.
But now I actually just look at my calendar. I see what I have to do for the day with each one of my clients. See who's on deadline, what event is happening, who's doing what, what's going on, and taking things minute by minute, honestly.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't, it's only myself. I am building my team currently, which is actually, very, very important because I am getting popular and my
Ooh.
clients are super popular.
Yes, ma'am. So you have to
And
what you got to do now is try to get somebody that can kind of you can start delegating because you kind of know
oh
everything
my
that
gosh,
you
that
need
has
to do.
been the
You
word
have to delegate.
for the past year. Whoever's on here that are my people, they are probably like, "Yes, girl, I've been telling this girl to delegate forever."
Yes, you
So
got to delegate.
right now, I'm just clearing my mind to delegate because I have
Okay,
to. I feel like that's a skill,
it is. It is.
and
You
you
have
have
to.
to learn that.
You absolutely do, especially because look at this now. I hope y'all paying attention. Because everything up until this point you was in complete control of, whether it was your networking, it was, everything that you needed to do to get to this particular point, putting yourself in the right position. All of those things was you and only you. Now with the delegation piece, a lot of, black business owners suffer with this. Now you have to entrust what it is that you're trying to get accomplished with somebody else, and you're expecting them to meet it with the same level of intensity. You're expecting them to meet it with the same level of hungriness that you have, same level of know-how that you have, intuitiveness to pivot and things like that, because that's what type of industry this is. It's not necessarily a blueprint. So some of this stuff you might have to figure out, all of that kind of stuff, right? I was able to do it. You should be able to do it. That's kind of how we think about it in our minds. And then when we don't find people to do that, we be like, you know what? Forget them. I just do it myself because I know I can get it done. I know I can get it done.
Yes, yes. It's like, who can do it better than me?
Right.
And I've
Exactly.
had experiences where I've delegated and I was disappointed, and so this is something that I literally have to pray on. Um,
So can I offer some advice or just a suggestion?
yes,
I want to offer a suggestion. Okay. So with this, when it comes to delegating, what number one I would say is whoever the person is that may be shadowing you or coming in to assist, you want to make sure that you do the best job of explaining to them exactly what you expect from them in that particular role, what it is that you want them to do. Having clear, concise instructions always helps a person. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't mess this up because I gave it to you in a particular way that you can't mess it up. And then I think the last thing is understanding that they're not you. They're not Chastity. So they're not going to do it the way Chastity would do it. What we want to do is we want to get them to the end result, which is whatever it is that you discuss, whether it's making this contact, getting this email, getting this record plate, whatever the case may be, right? That's the end goal. However, we get to that end goal without, obviously damaging the brand, like doing nothing out of the box, but you may use your own ideas or whatever the case may be to get there, and then you attain the end goal. It's not going to be exactly how I did it, but you attained the end goal. And I think when we look at it from that perspective, then we're able to kind of loosen up the reins from from that particular task and say, you know what, they was able to accomplish it. It wasn't how I would have did it, but they got it done.
right,
And the goal is to get it done, right? They kept the brand intact. They didn't wreck it too bad. And then of course, some people gonna make mistakes. So people make mistakes. It's like, okay, that's fine. We have grace with that. I made mistakes. This is how we're gonna do it better next time, right? And I think as you go through that process and stuff like that, I think the team is definitely gonna build. They're gonna feel that energy that you bring to the table because you lead by
definitely.
example. And I think it's gonna be really dope.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get there. So that's what I'm working on now. I have amazing clients. Shout out to this group. Shout out to Tiana. Shout out to Math and Spider and just everybody else. I love my clients. They really they move me because I feel like in this business a lot of people settle,
Mm,
right? Because they feel like in order to gain and get to where they need to be, they have to settle. And for me, I don't that's not my thing. Like I believe in everybody that I work with. They're all very good people, you know. That's very important to me, working with great people, working
absolutely.
with people with integrity, people that are great humans. So I'm thankful that I'm able to work with great humans. And it took a long time to get here, but now that I'm here, I'm super thankful. It was worth the it was worth the grind. It was worth the consistency.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So now, what are Chastity's plans for the future? You know, Pop said, Chastity, Uncle Freedom said, "You go, girl, get money."
Oh my god!
um,
So my Uncle Freedom calls me Get Money. I don't know why he thinks I have so much money.
yes, ma'am. Shout out to Uncle Freedom. Shout out to Uncle Freedom.
Yeah.
So the future. So yeah. So what does the future look like? What upcoming events do you have? You know, what you working on? Obviously, you say you building the team. So those who are watching, if you know somebody who may be a great fit, whatever the case may be, I guess, Sister Chassie is gonna be accepting resumes. I don't know how she want to do it. But yeah. But what's the future?
Yes, I'm accepting. I'm accepting resumes.
Accepting
I'm gonna
resumes.
put that out eventually. No, just follow me on Instagram at Chastity Cox PR. You'll see everybody that I work with, and you can follow everybody that I work with. Um, there's always things coming. Literally, there's always things coming. My MEO, just look out for episodes of my expert opinion that are coming out. Very soon, all the time.
Mm,
Um, Shout out to this group. They have this podcast network. Tiana has amazing things coming. Like everybody has amazing things coming. All you have to do is go to my Instagram at Chastity Cox PR. Go to my bio. You'll see everybody that I'm working with, everything that they're doing, and you can keep up with us that way. We're outside. Like we're outside inside, because we work so much that we can't really be outside.
yes, ma'am.
But we
Absolutely.
outside.
So what would be some advice that you would give to somebody who is either graduating college, in college, or just aspiring to get into PR and media, as a publicist? What would be some advice that you have for them that you would share with them?
Don't stop. Be consistent. Be prayerful. Because prayer took me such a long way. Such a long way. I feel like you always have to have a higher power with you to really go through this process and to do these things because it's not easy. Have integrity, network. Your network is your net worth. That is not that I mean that is the truth. That is not a story. That is not a lie. That is the 100% truth. Network. And be yourself because
Mm,
for a while I wasn't sure if I even fit in. I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I wasn't even sure if I fit in. I wasn't. I'm this quirky girl with this voice. Like people made fun of my voice my whole life.
mm,
And I just have this thing about me. But this is the thing that's gotten me where I am today.
yes,
And
ma'am.
you have to really be comfortable with yourself. You have to love yourself, be yourself, know yourself. Um, Again, God, 1000%. Be consistent, and always have gratitude. Anywhere you are in your career, in your life, personally, whether it's personal, business, whatever it is, have gratitude. Please have gratitude, because you can always be somewhere else. So be consistent, have gratitude, be one with the Most High, and keep going. Don't ever stop.
Absolutely. See those
And be
that's bars
yourself.
right there. That's right. That's bars right there, family. Authenticity, right? Consistency, prayers up, making sure that you are staying connected to a higher power, because it's not about us. It's all about the higher power and how they move and how it moves through us. So those are solid game, family. And man, let's give Sister Chasity a round of applause for coming through tonight and Shifting the Culture podcast. And really, man, sharing her story with us, talking about her clients, some of her ups and downs, and how she was able to get through the industry. I really enjoyed it myself, as well, being a person who was in media as well. So and having to take a different route. So I certainly, man, enjoyed it as well. Just want to shout out some of the brands, man. Shout out to God Got Me So Blessed Clothing, man, for the sweatsuit, man. These clothes is I love them, man. And then shout out to my brother Golden Child with the Unity movement, Unity in the streets, man. So shout out to him for that as well. So, man, we appreciate everybody for coming through Shifting the Culture podcast. If you want to be a part of our community, then at the bottom of the screen, you're able to text the word STC podcast. You're able to text the word STC podcast. And when you text that word to 888-294-2793, then you'll become a part of the community where you get updates, you get information about events, upcoming guests, all of those different type of things, family, links to the podcast, all of that stuff. So again, you can text the word STC podcast to 888-294-2793. Become a part of the community so we can have these Shifting the Culture conversations offline as well. And y'all make sure y'all follow me on our social media platforms at Brother King Cam. Man, we getting so much love. Pop said he loved it. Doc Blaze said he enjoyed it as well.
He loved it.
Yeah, Doc Blaze said, he said he appreciated it. So, man, he appreciated us having this conversation. And I appreciate you all. So, man, please share out the link, man, and support the podcast as well. So,
Yes,
Sister Chasity,
please. Everybody support you for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any closing remarks for the people?
Yeah, no, thank you, Cam. I appreciate you again so much. Keep doing what you're doing. Seriously. I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a shirt on. I forgot his name.
Uh-huh.
But it says life becomes great when you
you
become grateful.
Yes.
And so please, gratitude. Follow me at Chasity Cox PR on everything. Everybody who's here, make sure you follow Cam, and follow his podcast. Continue to be great and continue to love each other.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sister Chasity. We appreciate you. All right, family, and we'll see you all next week for another episode of Shifting the Culture podcast. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. And then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still wanna think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like